I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we
NYPD! Unexpelled racist! NYPD! Unexpelled racist! NYPD!
My name is Javier Rosero.
My name is Crystal Porter.
My name is Sam Mundell.
My name is Edie Langrushova.
And I'm 21.
And I'm 20 years old.
I'm 22.
And I am 22 years old.
So I'm Colombian. I was born in Colombia. I was raised here.
I spent the first 8 years of my life in Bergenfield, New Jersey, and then I moved to Staten Island, New York.
I grew up in Davidson, North Carolina.
I was born in Moscow, Russia, when I was 6 months old, we moved to America. But when I was 7 years old, we moved back to Russia, and then my family kind of split up between the two continents. And when I was 18 and I finished my full education in Russia, I decided that I want to come back to America for college. So I've been here for 4 years.
In school, not so much. You know, I didn't express, I guess, my culture as much. You know, everybody's speaking in English. Everyone's kind of learning American history for the most part. But at home and my neighborhood around me, not a problem at all. I always spoke Spanish at home. We would listen to Spanish music. It was Spanish movies, Spanish telenovelas, Spanish food. So I had, it was a bit of a split identity. You know, you have to be one person at one place and another person at another.
I was used to being the only minority, but it was more of it was just a totally different lifestyle for me. Kids, like I didn't see kids curse very often until I got to New York. You know, the behavior was different, the culture was very different, so it was a big adjustment for me.
In the town that I grew up in, blacks and whites were still pretty much separated by train tracks, which is a little bit strange. But I grew up in a very liberal household that taught us about understanding and taught us to be friends with whoever we wanted to be friends with, and taught us about acceptance, and it was great, honestly.
In Russia, people don't really smile to strangers. It's like really rare. People seem really cold, and everyone just minds their own business, and I'm like this little American kid, and I want to be friends with everyone, and everyone's like, no, we don't want to be friends with you. So school was really difficult because of my language barrier. Learning Russian was extremely hard, and I've always kind of been upset that my parents didn't try to infuse me with more Russian culture and Russian language as I was growing up. So after 1 year in public school, I was actually transferred to a private school because it was just too much to handle, because the immersive part of learning a language is important, but while I'm learning a language, it was too difficult for me to even learn the alphabet because it's a totally different alphabet. It was too difficult for me to read and to interact with the kids. So for a little bit I was in a private school, and then when I caught up with the language, I transferred back to a public school.
But of course, I'm always hit with the occasional, like, oh, do you know Pablo Escobar? Or like, do you sell drugs? Do your family sell drugs? And it's funny because they'll say it in a joking manner, but you can still hear in their voice that they're a little like, I wonder if he's doing this anyways. So that kind of judgment, it sucks.
It's a challenge every single day, you know, to know that we you know, in America we're supposed to promote equality and, you know, opportunity, but I have to try twice as hard as most of my peers in every single way. In education, in a work setting, I have to constantly curb my behavior that's considered acceptable for other people. You know, I can't be the person that, you know, loses my temper in a public setting, because then I'm perceived as, you know, an angry black person, and, you know, that can be seen as threatening, even though I weigh 110 pounds. You know, I'm way more threatening than, you know, a white male who is destroying public property because his town lost a hockey game. You know, it's upsetting, but it's, you know, really difficult.
I don't have to worry about biases being placed on me whenever I want to get a job or whenever I'm making friends. It's never been something that I've had to really think about. And the only time that I've ever really thought about it was in terms of meeting other people who have had to think about it. And that's really been my only experience with not being accepted is people that I care about not being accepted.
People really like to tell me that the Russian accent is really sexy, and I think that's not the case at all, because how does this sound sexy? It sounds like bad evil guy from James Bond movie. And I hate going to Brighton Beach, because if you leave Russia where it is. Don't bring it with you. You left for a reason. So I kind of have a hard time finding like a wavelength with Russian people here, because they're still so obsessed with Russia, and I just moved on.
I know and I've seen what my family's had to do to get to where they are, and really help me out and my siblings out. I completely respect immigration laws, but I think knowing so much about this country, immigration is a huge role on our economics. It's a huge role on our relationships with foreign countries. Where we stand today, we wouldn't be without immigration, without immigrants, without other people, you know, new ideas. It's a little upsetting to hear what people have to say and how open they are about saying it.
I think immigration is very different from what it used to be. I think the mentality has changed because our country has changed. Some people view immigration as a negative thing, because they look at what the media shows us with, you know, a lot of illegal immigration and illegal immigrants in our country, and Donald Trump, and, you know, there's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of hate fueled towards immigration at the moment. And, you know, in my view, I think it's a really complicated topic. I don't think anybody has the right to say whether, you know, a part of it is right or wrong. It's too complicated. It's such a gray area. I don't really think there is, you know, a right way to look at it.
I have a lot of friends who are first generation here. I have a friend right now who is has a petition on the petition.org website, I think it is. She has a student visa that is validated by an executive order through Obama, and Trump has promised to destroy all executive orders that Obama put through, and that would mean that she wouldn't be able to stay here. And it's very scary, and that's only one example, and that's only a very personal example, and it's very hard to put into terms how many people would be affected by what I'm scared is going to happen during this presidency. But on a more general note, I don't really believe in the idea of borders. I think that they're kind of arbitrary and set by old white men, and I don't think that they have much validity at this point. And at the end of the day, people are just trying to go to the place that will give them a better life and will provide a better life for their family.
I've honestly never been so upset in my life. I think Donald Trump winning the election shows what half of our nation is. And I didn't come to America to experience this. I didn't come to America to be trapped in a dictatorship again. Because growing up with Putin has been very restricting and very upsetting and non-liberal. Every day of my life in Russia, you feel like you're constrained and you feel like everyone's an enemy. That's why people are so cold. And now my family's going to be discriminated because we're immigrants, and I'm going to be discriminated on many other levels because I'm a woman and because I'm gay, and I don't need this in my life. So it's just so upsetting to see as a nation that we chose this. I'm not even upset about Trump. I'm upset that people actually follow Trump and see him as an idol. And it's really upsetting because you think that America is like this dreamland, that you can do anything in America, and now all of that is just erased.
I think to be an American, it's to come into society, the American society, and like I said before, contribute. Make sure you get a job. First of all, get your education. Get a job, whether that be after high school or after college. That's up to you. Make sure you're paying taxes. Make sure you're abiding by laws. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not defined on your citizen's status. Whether you're a citizen or not. I've lived here about 18 years now. I'm still not a citizen. I've been here most of my life, but I'm here like everybody else, learning. I'm working. I'm paying my taxes. Never gotten arrested. Never gotten into any trouble with police. I've only seen myself contribute in a positive way. So to be an American, it's someone who's willing to help move the country forward.
I think, to be an American means to be extremely blessed and gifted, I mean, we have so much opportunity here. Even though there are a lot of faults, we have more freedom and more civil liberties than most countries out there in the world. We have more money, there's more opportunity here. I think to be an American is to be a lucky person.
To be an American is to be hopeful. To be an American is to be able to have the personal dreams that I was talking about before. To be able to believe in a possibility of living something better, of pushing yourself forward, of providing a better possibility for people that you care about, and having a voice. I think that is what America is to have a voice in your future.
To be an American is to be a hard worker. It's to follow your dream no matter what. It's to achieve what you want and have multiple tools to do that. To be an American is to end up with a house and a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and a golden retriever and a white fence. It's about making your life become wholesome.
My American dream is simple. I want to graduate, slowly go for my PhD, become a professor, and I actually want to teach American history, hopefully at some point in a university. I feel like, again, I respect our country's history. but also there's a lot of things that people try to touch up or try to like fluff up to make it seem nice. So I think it's a good history, but it's one that needs to be told correctly.
When I can wake up and not have to put in any more effort than the person next to me and be seen any differently before I even get the opportunity to speak, that would be my American dream. That would be, great for me. Or for me to be able to have a child, specifically a male child, and not have to sit down and talk to him about how he's automatically perceived as a threat from the moment he starts breathing.
I haven't really thought about it that much in terms of an American dream. It's been more personal dreams for me. Again, I think that might be coming from a place of privilege where I've never thought about the abstract of the American dream, but I guess if it were to be one thing, it would be to meet all people that make up America and experience as much of this country as I can, to travel to as many places in this country as I can, and to learn as much from this country as I can, and to provide the best life for myself, for the people I love, and for everybody in this country. That's really my dream of what America is and what I want it to be.
My American dream is to stop having to poorly paid internships and having to do a third, part-time gig at the same time, and finally make it. Have a career. I think having a career in America sounds so freaking good. Once I get that 6-digit check, I'll be like, yeah, I made it.
The America I know is full of courage and optimism and ingenuity. The America I know is decent and generous. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know.